What if I told you the greatest battle you'll ever face isn't out there in the world? It's happening silently inside your own mind. You see, most people wake up every morning already defeated without even realizing it. Their fears dictate their choices, their doubts cloud their dreams, and their subconscious habits, the ones they never consciously chose, silently steal their potential. It's not your lack of talent. It's not the economy. It's not even bad luck. It's the invisible war raging inside you, between the life you have and the life you could have. But what if, just for a moment, you could see that battle clearly? What if you had the tools to end it and reclaim the power that's been yours all along? The ancient Stoics mastered this art. They faced chaos, failure, betrayal, yet remained unshakably calm, fiercely disciplined, and relentlessly focused. They didn't rely on motivation. They didn't wait for the world to change. They mastered the only thing that ever mattered, their own mind. And today, so can you. In this video, you're going to learn how to control your mind like a sage, using the timeless wisdom of Stoicism combined with cutting-edge neuroscience. Because once you win the war within, no obstacle outside can ever defeat you. Ready? Let's begin. Part 1. Recognizing the silent enemy, your own mind. Alright, so let's dive into part 1. Here's the truth. The first step to controlling your mind like a sage is realizing that most of the time you're not in control at all. And I know that might sound harsh, but stay with me because this changes everything. Science tells us that about 95% of your daily thoughts, decisions, and actions are driven by your subconscious mind, on autopilot. Not by your conscious choices, not by your rational thinking, but by invisible mental programs running quietly in the background. It's kind of like, imagine you're in a car. You think you're driving, hands on the wheel, eyes on the road, but in reality, your subconscious is the one steering, deciding when to brake, when to turn, even where you're heading. And most of the time, you don't even notice. Here's a simple example. Ever found yourself grabbing your phone without thinking the moment you feel a little bored or stressed? You didn't consciously decide, now I will check Instagram for 47 minutes. Your brain simply executed a habit that was wired in long ago, a way to see quick dopamine hits. That's the silent enemy. Your mind, left untrained, will repeat the same old patterns of fear, doubt, distraction, and hesitation, day after day. Not because you're weak, not because you lack potential, but because no one ever taught you how to control the machine running your life. And that's exactly why most people stay stuck. They try harder. They read more motivational quotes. They make New Year's resolutions with so much hope, only to find themselves falling back into the same old ruts within weeks. It's not a willpower problem. It's a programming problem. Now, here's where it gets powerful. The Stoic sages, like Marcus Aurelius and Epictetus, understood this long before neuroscience confirmed it. They realized you can't always control what the world throws at you, but you can control what your mind does with it. They train themselves to be deeply aware of their internal world, their impulses, their fears, their automatic reactions. They refuse to live as prisoners to emotions or habits. Instead, they chose every thought, every response, deliberately and consciously. So let's bring it back to you. If you've ever felt like you're stuck in cycles of procrastination, if you've ever battled self-doubt so loud it drowns out your dreams, if you've ever promised yourself you'd change only to slip back into old habits, it's not because you're broken, it's because your mind is running an old script. And the good news, scripts can be rewritten. But the very first move is to wake up to the game that's being played inside you. To recognize, I am not my automatic thoughts, I am the observer, I am the one who chooses. And once you see that clearly, even just for a moment, you start to take your power back. Because you can't change what you don't see, but the moment you see it, truly see it, you can start to rewrite it. And that is where true mental freedom begins. All right, ready to go even deeper? In part 2, we're going to break down how your mind tricks you into thinking you're in control when you're really not, and how the ancient Stoics beat this trap every single day. Let's go. Now that you understand that your subconscious runs most of the show, here's the crazy part. It feels like you're in control. It feels like you're making decisions, choosing how you react, steering your life moment by moment. But neuroscience shows something shocking. Your brain often decides before you even become aware of it. Let me explain. Scientists ran experiments where they scanned people's brains while asking them to make simple decisions, like pressing a button with their left or right hand. What they found: the brain's motor cortex lit up several milliseconds before the person consciously decided. In other words, the subconscious made the call, and your conscious mind simply played catch-up, justifying the decision after the fact. Wild, right? And it's not just for little choices. It happens with bigger things too. How you react to stress, whether you speak up in a meeting, and whether you believe you're good enough to pursue your dream. Here's a real-world example. Imagine you're about to give a presentation. Your heart races, your palms sweat, you feel like running away. Did you choose to panic? No, your subconscious detected a threat based on past programming, maybe from childhood experiences of being judged or embarrassed, and it triggered a fear response before you even had a chance to logically assess the situation. That's the illusion of control. It feels like you decided to be nervous, but really, the decision happened deep inside your subconscious long before you even noticed the feeling. And if you don't recognize this, it can be incredibly frustrating. You'll keep wondering, why can't I just stay calm? Why do I freeze when I need to perform? Why do I keep hesitating even though I know what I want? But here's the key. It's not because you're broken. It's because your mind is simply following old scripts that were written long ago, scripts you never consciously chose. And this is exactly where Stoicism becomes your superpower. The Stoics taught it's not things that disturb us, but our judgments about things. Epictetus said that, by the way. They realized the outside world doesn't cause our suffering. Our unconscious interpretation does. So they trained themselves to slow down the reaction time between stimulus and response. Instead of automatically panicking, they inserted conscious awareness. Instead of letting fear hijack their actions, they chose their perspective. It's like installing a pause button between what happens and how you respond. Here's how you can practice this today. Next time you feel fear, anger, hesitation, stop, take a breath, ask yourself, is this an automatic reaction or a conscious choice? Then deliberately choose your next move. At first, it will feel unnatural. You might even miss the pause and react automatically. That's okay. The goal is not perfection. It's awareness. Because every time you catch yourself before reacting, you weaken the old program. And every time you respond intentionally, you strengthen the neural pathways of conscious control. Over time, this becomes second nature. You begin to respond to life instead of reacting to it. And that, my friend, is when you start to live not like a prisoner of your mind, but like a true sage. All right, in part 3, we're going to dive deeper into how Stoics train their minds to focus only on what they can control, and how you can apply this right now to eliminate anxiety and self-doubt. Let's keep going. Now that we've uncovered the illusion of control, it's time to talk about one of the core superpowers of Stoicism, mastering your focus. And here's the simple but life-changing truth. You cannot control everything. You can't control what other people say. You can't control the economy. You can't control traffic, weather, or even your own first emotional reaction sometimes. But what you can control is what you focus on. The Stoics had a simple formula for peace of mind. Focus only on what is up to you. Let go of everything else. Sounds simple, right? But living it, that's where the magic happens. Let me give you an example. Imagine you're working hard on a project at your job. You pour your heart into it. You think you nailed it. And then Your boss criticizes you in front of everyone. Now, if you're like most people, the mind instantly races. That's so unfair. Why don't they appreciate me? Maybe I'm not good enough after all. Boom. Anxiety, frustration, self-doubt spiral out of control. But a Stoic would pause and ask, what part of the situation is within my control? They can't control the boss's words. They can't control how others perceive them, but they can control their interpretation. They can control how they respond. Maybe they see it as a chance to improve. Maybe they stay calm while others would panic. Maybe they keep their dignity and clarity, no matter what's thrown at them. This is true mental freedom. You see, the real trap isn't the external event. It's getting dragged into fighting battles that were never yours to fight. Focusing on what you can't control is like trying to stop the ocean with your bare hands. It's exhausting, it's pointless, and it leaves you feeling powerless. But when you shift your focus to what is within your power, your mindset, your actions, your values, you become untouchable. No matter how chaotic the outside world becomes, you stay steady. It's like standing in the eye of the storm, calm, clear, unshakable. Here's a simple practice you can start using today. Whenever you're stressed or frustrated, ask yourself 2 quick questions. 1, is this under my control? 2, if not, what can I choose to do right now? That's it. If it's under your control, take action. If it's not, release it. This mental habit rewires your brain for resilience. It builds emotional strength like lifting weights builds physical muscles. And over time, you'll notice something incredible. Things that used to trigger you no longer steal your peace. You become the master of your own mind, not a victim of external chaos. One quick tip, you can even create a small control list whenever you feel overwhelmed. On one side, write what's not in your control. On the other side, what is in your control? It's a powerful visual reminder to stop wasting energy on what doesn't serve you. Because remember, energy flows where attention goes, and when you place your focus only where you have true power, you become unstoppable. Alright, in part 4, we're going to explore how your mind creates your reality, and why mastering your inner world is the secret to transforming your outer world. Let's keep building that sage-like mastery. Now, if you've been following along, you already know that most of your reactions are automatic, and that focusing only on what you can control is key. But now let's go even deeper, because here's a mind-blowing truth. Your mind doesn't just react to reality, it creates your reality. Think about that for a second. The way you perceive the world around you. The opportunities you notice, the obstacles you fear, the limits you believe in, it's all filtered through the lens of your mind. And here's the kicker. If you don't train that lens, if you don't consciously choose how you see things, your mind will default to old programming, old fears, old doubts, old limitations. Let me give you a real-life example. Imagine 2 people walk into a networking event, same room, same opportunities, same people. One person immediately feels out of place. They think, nobody wants to talk to me, I don't belong here. They stay in the corner, avoid eye contact, and leave early, feeling rejected. The other person walks in thinking, I'm excited to meet new people, I have value to offer. They smile, start conversations, and walk out with 3 new connections that could change their career. Same external reality, completely different experiences. Why? Because reality isn't just out there. It's filtered through the beliefs and expectations you carry inside. This is what the Stoics understood so well. They knew we are disturbed not by things, but by the views which we take of them. Epictetus. In other words, life doesn't happen to you. Life happens through you. If your inner world is chaotic, fearful, negative, that's the world you'll live in, no matter how good your circumstances are. But if your inner world is strong, focused, and full of possibility, you'll find opportunities, hope, and growth, even in the toughest situations. Here's how you can start applying this today. Whenever you face a challenge, ask yourself, Am I seeing this clearly, or am I seeing it through the lens of old fears and assumptions? And then reframe it. Instead of thinking, this is impossible, ask, what part of this is possible? Instead of thinking, I'm not good enough, ask, how can I grow into the person who can handle this? Instead of thinking, why is this happening to me? Ask, what is this teaching me? This mental shift from victim to creator is where true transformation begins, because the world outside of you doesn't need to change first. You need to change first, and when you do, the world you experience shifts with you. Quick tip you can try today. Create a reframe list. Pick one challenge you're facing right now. Write down your automatic negative thought about it. Then rewrite it into an empowering, growth-focused thought. Practice repeating the new version every time the old thought pops up. This simple habit done consistently can literally rewire your brain, thanks to neuroplasticity, helping you build a stronger, wiser, calmer mind. Because the truth is, you are not just living in the world, you are creating the world you live in, one thought at a time. Alright, in part 5, we're going to break down exactly how the subconscious mind traps you in invisible patterns and how to break free for good. You're doing amazing. Now that you understand how your mind creates your reality, it's time to face another hard truth. Most of the limits you experience are not real. They're subconscious programs you never chose, but you've been living by them anyway. Let's unpack this. From the moment you were born, your mind has been recording everything. What people said about you, how others treated you, every success, every failure, every painful experience. And without realizing it, your subconscious mind created rules based on these experiences. Rules like, I must be perfect to be loved. Taking risks is dangerous. I'm not smart enough. Good things don't happen to people like me. You didn't consciously sit down and create these rules. They were installed during childhood when your brain was in its most absorbent programmable state. And here's the scary part. Your subconscious doesn't care if these beliefs are true or helpful. It only cares if they are familiar. Once a belief gets locked in, your mind keeps reinforcing it over and over until it becomes your reality. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone who grew up hearing, money is the root of all evil. Fast forward 20 years, they work hard but somehow always sabotage financial success. Not because they don't want it, but because deep down, success feels dangerous, even wrong. The subconscious mind is like an old computer running outdated software, and unless you update it, it keeps running the same broken code. But here's the amazing news. You can reprogram it. The Stoics didn't call it subconscious mind, but they absolutely understood this trap. They taught that we must challenge our assumptions daily, that just because a thought feels true doesn't mean it is true. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. Meaning, if you keep feeding your mind with fear, scarcity, and helplessness, you live a fearful, scarce, helpless life. But if you feed it wisdom, strength, and clarity, you become strong, wise, and clear. So how do you break free? It starts with one word, awareness. You can't change what you don't notice. You have to start catching the invisible programs as they run. Here's a simple exercise. Next time you catch yourself thinking something negative like, I'm terrible at this, I'm just unlucky, nothing ever works out for me, pause and ask, whose voice is that? Is it really you? Or is it a leftover belief from someone else, a teacher, a parent, a bad experience you had years ago? Once you see the belief for what it is, a program, not a truth, you create space, and in that space, you can choose differently. You can start installing a new belief, one that's actually aligned with the life you want. For example, instead of I always fail, you tell yourself, every setback is a lesson that makes me stronger. Instead of I'm not enough, you say, I'm growing, evolving, and worthy exactly as I am. And here's the beautiful part. Every time you override an old subconscious pattern with a conscious new choice, You are literally rewiring your brain. It's not just theory. It's neuroscience. It's called neuroplasticity. And it means change is always possible, no matter how long you've been stuck. Because you were never broken. You were simply running old programs. And now you're learning how to write new ones. All right. In part 6, we'll dive deeper into how to create those new subconscious programs and make them stick, using the same strategies ancient Stoics and modern science agree on. You're doing powerful work. Let's keep building your mental mastery. So far, we've talked about how old subconscious programs trap you without you even realizing it. Now it's time for the exciting part: how to reprogram your mind consciously for success, confidence, and inner freedom. And here's the first thing you need to know. Reprogramming your mind is not about forcing change overnight. It's about consistent daily training, just like building muscle. You wouldn't go to the gym once and expect to be in the best shape of your life, right? Same thing with your mind. The subconscious mind learns through 3 things: exposure, repetition, emotion. Let's break these down. First, exposure. You have to flood your mind with new ideas, new possibilities, new examples of the life you want. If you grew up around fear, negativity, or scarcity thinking, that became your default normal. To shift it, you need to expose yourself to new normals. For example, listen to inspiring podcasts, read books by people who've achieved the mindset you admire. Surround yourself, even virtually, with voices of resilience, courage, and wisdom. Little by little, your mind adapts to the new environment you give it. Second, repetition. The subconscious doesn't learn from hearing something once. It learns from repetition. That's why affirmations, when used correctly, are powerful. But here's the key. It's not about mindlessly chanting positive words you don't believe. It's about consistently reinforcing the identity you want to embody. Example, instead of saying, "I am rich," if you feel broke inside, say, "I am learning how to create more value every day." It feels true. It's aligned. And with repetition, it rewires the brain. Write down 3 to 5 empowering beliefs you want to adopt. Repeat them daily, out loud, with feeling. At first, your brain will resist. That's normal. It's old software fighting for survival. Keep going anyway. Third, emotion. Emotion supercharges learning. Your mind remembers experiences tied to strong emotions, whether good or bad. So when you visualize or affirm your new beliefs, feel them. Example, when you affirm, "I am resilient," don't just say it. Close your eyes, breathe deeply, and feel the strength inside you. Imagine moments where you overcame difficulties before. Feel the pride. Feel the power. The more real you make the new belief emotionally, the faster your subconscious accepts it as your new truth. Let's put it all together. Here's a quick reprogramming ritual you can start today. One morning, spend 5 minutes visualizing your ideal self. Strong, wise, calm. Repeat your affirmations with energy. 2. During the day, catch negative old thoughts when they arise. Replace them immediately with your new belief. 3. Evening, reflect on any small wins where you acted differently. Celebrate them emotionally to reinforce the new program. Remember, small daily victories, repeated over time, create massive change. This is exactly how the Stoics trained their minds. Daily reflection, daily discipline, daily commitment to growth. They didn't hope to become sages overnight. They shaped themselves, thought by thought, day by day, until wisdom became second nature, and you can do the same. Because your mind is not fixed, your patterns are not your destiny, you are the architect now. All right, in part 7, we're going to tackle something huge: how to overcome the inner resistance that tries to pull you back into your old comfort zone, and how to smash through it like a true sage. So by now, you're learning how to reprogram your mind for success and inner strength. But there's something you need to be ready for: resistance. Whenever you try to change, to grow, to step into your power, your subconscious will fight back. It's not because you're weak. It's because your mind was designed for survival, not success. Anything new, Even something good feels like a threat to the subconscious because it's unfamiliar and the subconscious loves familiarity. Here's how it shows up. You suddenly feel tired right when it's time to work on your goals. You find excuses like, I'll start tomorrow. You get overwhelmed with fear or self-doubt out of nowhere. Sound familiar? This is inner resistance. And if you don't recognize it for what it is, it can quietly sabotage your dreams before they even have a chance to take root. Let's take a real example. Let's say you want to start speaking up more at work. At first, you're motivated, you visualize it, you affirm it, you get excited. But when the moment actually comes, your heart races, your throat tightens, your mind screams, stay silent, don't risk it. That's not a sign you're not ready. It's not a sign you're incapable. It's just old programming trying to keep you safe in the known. Your mind thinks speaking up equals risk equals danger. Even if today speaking up could actually lead to growth, recognition, and leadership. Here's the good news. You don't have to eliminate fear to succeed. You just have to stop letting fear make the decisions. The Stoics knew this well. They taught, the obstacle is the way. Marcus Aurelius. Meaning, when you feel fear, discomfort, or hesitation, that's not a stop sign. That's a signal you're about to grow. True growth always lives just outside your comfort zone. So how do you beat resistance? 2 keys, awareness and action. 1. Awareness. The moment you feel resistance, name it. Don't judge it. Don't fight it. Just say, this is resistance. Good. It means I'm stretching. 2. Action. Take a small step immediately. Don't negotiate with your mind. Don't wait to feel ready. Example, if you feel resistance about speaking up, say 1 sentence. If you feel resistance about starting a project, open the document and write the first line. Tiny actions create momentum, and momentum kills fear. The longer you hesitate, the stronger resistance becomes. The faster you move, the weaker it gets. Quick tool you can use. It's called the 5-second rule, popularized by Mel Robbins. When you feel resistance, count down. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go. Move before your brain can talk you out of it. This simple hack retrains your brain to associate discomfort with action, not avoidance. And every time you take action in the face of resistance, you are rewriting your identity into someone who is bold, decisive, and unstoppable. Here's the big truth. Fear will never fully go away. Resistance will always show up at the edge of your next level. But it's not there to defeat you. It's there to forge you. Because the mind of a sage isn't fearless. It's courageous. It moves through fear. It rises above doubt. It acts according to wisdom, not emotion. And you right now are learning to do exactly that. All right, in part 8, we're going to dive into how to make this transformation permanent, so that mental strength becomes your new default setting. So far, you've learned how to reprogram your mind and push through resistance. But now comes the next crucial step. How do you make this your new normal? How do you make mental strength not just something you do sometimes, but something you are every single day? Because here's the thing, growth isn't about a one-time breakthrough. It's about consistent habits that stack up day after day until change becomes automatic. And that's what we're building. A mind so well trained that calm, focus, and resilience become your natural state. Here's the first big principle. Identity over effort. You can't just force better behavior forever. At some point, you have to become the person who naturally does those behaviors. Instead of thinking, I need to be more disciplined, shift to, I am a disciplined person. Instead of I should be more confident, shift to, I am someone who speaks and acts with confidence. This small shift in identity makes all the difference, because your mind loves to stay consistent with who you believe you are. If you see yourself as disciplined, your brain will work hard to make sure your actions match that self-image. Let's take a real-world example. Imagine 2 people trying to get in shape. One person says, I'm trying to work out, but I'm just not a fitness person. The other says, I'm an athlete in training. Who do you think sticks with it when motivation drops? The second one. Because their actions align with their new identity. It's the same with mental strength. Don't just try to be resilient. Claim resilience as part of who you are. Every time you act from that identity, you make it stronger until it's automatic. Second principle, ritual over motivation. Motivation comes and goes. Rituals stay. The Stoics didn't wait for perfect moods. They built daily rituals to anchor themselves: reflection, journaling, visualization, practicing virtues. You need the same. Example, spend 5 minutes each morning visualizing yourself handling challenges with calm strength. End your day by writing down one moment where you stayed composed, even if it was tiny. These small rituals compound massively over time. They keep your mind tuned to your highest self, even when life gets messy. Third principle, normalize discomfort. Mental strength isn't about avoiding discomfort. It's about getting so familiar with it that you no longer fear it. The Stoics deliberately practiced discomfort, exposing themselves to cold, hunger, hard labor, not because they were masochists, but because they knew if you can thrive under pressure, nothing controls you. You can practice this today in simple ways. Take cold showers. Choose the harder but better path, even when it's inconvenient. Step into situations that stretch you a little past your comfort zone. Every time you do, you teach your brain, I can handle more than I think. Here's the bottom line. Mental mastery isn't built in a day. It's built moment by moment, by the choices you make when nobody's watching. It's built by choosing discipline over distraction, courage over fear, and wisdom over emotional reaction. And if you stay consistent, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, there comes a moment when the shift becomes permanent. You don't have to try to be strong anymore. You just are. Alright, in part 9, we'll dive into the secret weapon of sages. How to turn everyday setbacks into fuel for even greater growth. Now, if you've been walking this journey with me so far, you're already doing what most people never even dare to start. You're taking control of your mind, your life, your destiny. But there's one more powerful skill we need to sharpen. How to transform setbacks into fuel for even greater growth. Because let's be honest, no matter how strong you get, life will still throw curveballs at you. You will still stumble. You will still face disappointment, failure, and frustration sometimes. But here's the key difference between a sage and an ordinary mind. The sage doesn't just survive setbacks, they use them as rocket fuel. Let's start with this simple truth. Failure isn't the enemy. Your interpretation of failure is. Two people can face the exact same setback. One falls apart, the other rises stronger. Example, imagine two entrepreneurs launch their first business. Both struggle, both lose money, both face rejection. One says, I guess I'm not cut out for this, and gives up. The other says, that was expensive tuition. Now I'm smarter, sharper, and better prepared for the next round. And they go on to build something extraordinary. Same setback, different story. And the story you tell yourself about your setbacks determines everything. This is what the Stoics mastered. Marcus Aurelius wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Read that again. What stands in the way becomes the way. The obstacle is not blocking your path. The obstacle is the path. When you start seeing setbacks not as punishments, but as practice, as sharpening stones for your character, then nothing can truly stop you. Here's how to start applying this mindset right now. Whenever you face a setback, small or big, pause and ask yourself 3 questions. 1. What can I learn from this? 2. How is this making me stronger? 3. What opportunity is hidden inside this challenge? Even if the answers don't come immediately, just asking these questions trains your mind to look for growth instead of defeat. And over time, this rewires your brain to automatically bounce back faster, stronger, and wiser after every hit. Let's take another real-world example. Maybe you set a goal to wake up at 5 a.m. every day, and you do great for a week, then you oversleep 2 days in a row. Old programming would say, see, you always mess up, you'll never change. But the Stoic mind says, good, now I have the chance to strengthen my discipline muscle. Let's refine the system and keep going. Setbacks aren't signs to stop. They're invitations to adapt, to learn, to evolve. The real loss isn't in failing. It's in quitting because you misunderstood what failure actually means. Here's a simple daily practice you can start. At the end of each day, ask yourself, where did I face resistance or setbacks today? How did I respond? How can I use this experience to level up tomorrow? Write it down, reflect honestly, but without judgment. This builds the habit of using every challenge as training. Final thought for today: the people who achieve lasting greatness, the sages, the leaders, the visionaries, are not the ones who never fall. They're the ones who fall, rise, learn, and rise higher. Fall in love with the process. Fall in love with your own resilience. Fall in love with who you are becoming through every obstacle, because the obstacle is not in your way. The obstacle is your way. All right, in part 10, we'll bring everything together and I'll show you how to live every single day with the unshakable mindset of a true sage. Here we are, part 10. The final step. By now, you've learned how to take control of your mind, reprogram your subconscious, overcome resistance, and even turn setbacks into your greatest fuel. But the real question is, how do you live this way every single day? How do you make the wisdom of Stoicism not just something you know, but something you embody? That's what we're going to dive into right now. First principle, practice presence. A true sage doesn't live trapped in the past. They don't live paralyzed by fears of the future. They live here, now. When you're present, you're powerful. You respond to life. You don't just react to it. Example, instead of stressing about a big meeting tomorrow, focus on what you can prepare today. Instead of regretting what you didn't say last week, focus on how you can communicate better in your next conversation. The mind loves to wander, but every time you gently bring it back to this moment, you sharpen your inner mastery. You become harder to shake, harder to control from the outside. Second principle, align with your highest values. Stoicism teaches us that a good life isn't about chasing external rewards, money, fame, approval. It's about living with virtue, courage, wisdom, justice, self-discipline. When you live aligned with your core values, your mind becomes clear. You know who you are, you know what matters, and external chaos can't steal your peace. Here's a quick exercise you can do. Write down your top 3 core values. Every morning, set a simple intention. Today I will act with value. For example, today I will act with courage. Today I will act with patience. Today I will act with kindness. Small actions repeated daily build an unstoppable identity. Third principle, accept and love the process. There's no finish line in mental mastery. There's no moment where you're done. And that's beautiful, because every single day is a new opportunity to sharpen your wisdom, to test your resilience, to deepen your peace. Some days you'll feel strong, other days you'll slip. Both are part of the journey. The Stoics didn't expect perfection from themselves. They expected effort, honesty, and perseverance, and so should you. Example, if you lose your temper today, don't beat yourself up. Pause, reflect, ask, what triggered me? What can I learn? And tomorrow, step back into the arena wiser. Final thoughts. Mastering your mind isn't about becoming some cold, emotionless machine. It's about becoming fully alive, aware, awake, and powerful. It's about choosing your response, living your truth, and building an inner fortress that no storm can destroy. The true sage isn't someone who has no emotions. It's someone who owns them without being owned by them. And you, by walking this path, are becoming that sage. Day by day, thought by thought, action by action. And that brings us to the end of this journey, how to control your mind like a sage. If you're still here, I want to sincerely thank you. Thank you for investing your time, your energy, and your focus into something so rare and powerful, the mastery of your own mind. Most people live their entire lives on autopilot, ruled by emotions, fears, and old habits. But you, by being here, by listening, by reflecting, you've already taken the first steps that separate the few from the many. Remember, mental mastery isn't about never struggling, it's about learning how to rise every single time. It's about building the strength within so that no matter what happens outside, you remain calm, clear, and courageous. You are not your past. You are not your doubts. You are the creator of your reality. One thought, one action, one decision at a time. And if you keep practicing these Stoic principles, presence, resilience, self-control, wisdom, they won't just be ideas. They'll become your way of life. Before you go, if this video resonated with you, I would truly appreciate it if you would take just a moment to like this video to let me know it helped you. Subscribe if you want more content to help you build unstoppable inner strength. And if you feel like sharing, drop a comment below and tell me, what was your biggest breakthrough, insight, or favorite moment from this series? I'd love to hear your thoughts and celebrate your progress with you. This is just the beginning. Your mind is your most powerful tool. Treat it with care, train it with intention, and watch as your entire life transforms. Thank you again for being here. Stay strong, stay wise, and as always, keep building the life you were meant to live. I'll see you in the next video.